right here. This is motherfuckers don't talk. But now we gotta do this shit again.
So all I have to say is this.
We gotta do this shit again. And nobody tell me, and nobody here tell me why I get emotional. Why we talk like this? That's why I'm fucking
That's fine. You can do that.
You don't know where I'm from. You know? I'm a man over this motherfucker. I been here 30-something motherfucking years.
Yeah, I agree with you.
30-something fucking years. You talking ain't got no motherfucking sense.
Alright, so let's pause there for a second. What you just are watching here is a man react to being told that after 30 years he will not be receiving his pension. Now, let's go ahead and tackle this topic. I know you see the title of the video, but before you click off, I want you to give me your undivided attention, because what I'm going to discuss as we talk about this topic, it's not basically what everybody talks about. I'm not just going to whine about a 9-to-5, but I believed a 9-to-5 has evolved. Regular jobs has evolved to where we are now. You know, I do believe that we live in a different world, and a lot of people just have not evolved with their way of thinking. Mentally, the way they view jobs, the way they view themselves as a career, that hasn't evolved. People are still thinking the old way of thinking. You know, I've made tons of videos here. You know, one of my favorite quotes is how the internet enabled 8 billion monopolies, how it's so much possible and so much easier than ever before in order for you to make money. But yet we see things like this. So I wanted to make this video to maybe instill and empower some people, to kind of just give them an understanding, maybe you know, some ammunition, maybe some ideas in a different way, a different perspective that they must have in order for them to survive in this new economy that we're in. And actually,
I have a question.
Before I do that, I want to play one more video that I want you to listen to. This is another video that I saw that I think is very relevant to our topic today, that I wanted to play to kind of just address this.
Writers, actors, UPS workers, everybody going on strike.
I have come to the realization that...
And isn't that's really crazy. I mean, we know about the Hollywood always going on strike, but there's an increase in so many people going on strike. People are not making what they need to survive in this country, which is really strange. So anyway, I mean, there's all kinds of people going on strike.
They just not paying nobody.
The government literally announces that aliens exist and nobody is phased.
That is literally because nobody is getting paid enough to care to come here. At this point, we're tired of living through historical events like every other week, right? Rent too high, groceries too expensive, gas way too pricey, right? It is like the 4th day in a row where it's been 110 degrees. The alien thing is like on the back of the list.
I get up every morning at 4:30. I let my dog out, feed him, get him situated, play with him for a little bit. 5 o'clock I start getting ready for work. Get ready for work, out the door by 6. Sometimes I stop for breakfast, sometimes I don't, because I make it at home. I get here, my shift starts at 7 in the morning. I work from 7 to 4. Leave for the day, take me about 45 minutes to an hour to get home because of traffic. I do this every fucking day for 5 days a week. Just to get a damn paycheck that leaves as soon as it hits my account.
I can't.
So this lady, I want us to listen to this lady and really pay attention. I'm going to expand on this here in just a second. I love how honest she was, but I want you to see how people are living with a low sense of hope. When you have a community that has no hope, it's the worst thing that we could have in a society. It leaves the people stagnant and hopeless, and it's just... let's listen to what she has to say.
Grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me, why would it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has fucking changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling, and before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled, but there's a difference between struggling and drowning. All right, so we struggled and it was tough, but you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point. All right, When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the fuck is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it.
So this is where I want to kind of open up the topic of this conversation. Let's go back through history, okay? So we all know about the hunters and gatherers period. You know, the main priority was survival at this time. You know, majority of your time was spent all day looking for something to eat, okay? And then after that, majority of your time was spent trying to make sure you don't die, okay? So we went ahead and we moved into, you know, we finally decided, people started doing trade. There was markets that were created, society were created, and things like that was going on. If I can speed things up a little bit, it's actually a really cool article that I found here that discuss kind of the 4 industrial revolutions. Industrial revolution, this is kind of, you know, the time where people started working, you know, currency was a thing, money was a thing, you know, earning money and trading your time for money started becoming a thing. And the Industrial Revolution is actually broken down into 4 different types of Industrial Revolution. And let me make this make sense. So the first Industrial Revolution is in 1765. At this time, people witnessed massive extraction of coal with significant invention of steam engine created by a new type of energy and later helped speed up the manufacturing and railroads, which accelerated the economy. This first industrial revolution was a proto-industrial revolution period. You know, this is kind of the first industrial revolution where you have, you know, the new age of the working class is coming out there. People that have regular jobs. You know, life was not just all about survival. You know, it became the woman stayed at home and take care of the kids, and the men went out there and, you know, worked, and you have steam engines, and this is before they even had railroads. Transportation wasn't even there. And then you have the second industrial revolution. Following the first industrial revolution, we see the world going through the second almost century later. It started at the end of the 19th century with massive technological investment. Industries helped immerse the new source of energy, electricity, gas, and oil. This is where, you know, we're coming in where we have the Rockefellers. You know, oil is coming in where, you know, you have, you know, lights and then you have, you know, electricity, gas, oil. Oil changed everything, okay? Oil is probably... There's an argument that could be made. It's what really exploded our population in society. It made things much more better. It accelerated, you know, the economy and so forth and so on. Now, that was in the 1870s, you know, and then we come here to, and one really good way of depicting that time period is this picture right here. We are very used to, or at least seen this picture in history or whatever the case might be. You have men here. These are working men. They had jobs. You see the city behind them. You can see the result of, you know, coal, steel with Andrew Carnegie and all of that. You know, this is where Vanderbilt, you know, the railroad system was out there. People were traveling. You know, men had full-time jobs. You would see people go to work and they have their little toolbox. Y'all seen this out there in movies, okay? So this is that time period. And this is where, you know, stock market is being introduced. There's all these different things that are happening within society. But again, you know, a man, you know, we're starting to see what life it's supposed to look like in the new world, where the man goes out there and earns and the woman stays at home and takes care of the family. We're not in the hunters and gatherers period where we're just out for survival every single day and trying to run away from the lions. You know, there's sections of society where there's homes, there's markets where you can buy food. You know, none of this existed, you know, and trust me, this is all gonna make sense. I'm gonna tie this all back together, okay? By the way, if you don't know, this video is brought to you by Pennington Consulting Group, where we always say our goal is to help you reach your goals. So if you're looking for some funding, if you're a business, if you're looking to start, grow, or even expand your business, or in need of some funding, you want to go ahead and click the link in the description below and visit us at Pennington Consulting Group. In addition to that, if you're looking to start your own business loan agency, this program is also brought to you by Broker Solutions Academy. And what we do is we help loan brokers and understand and simplify the various funding products that are available in the marketplace so they can properly serve their clients, stop the endless confusion and self-defeating pointless rat race they're currently in, and grow their business while maximizing profits by teaching them how to become a real business loan broker, not just a glorified referral partner. So definitely there's going to be a link in the description. We've worked all year long to really package this program, and it's the most comprehensive loan broker training there is. Guaranteed you're going to be successful, especially if you're going to be having me as your coach. Okay, so definitely want to check the links in the description. In addition to that, if you're interested in some of our media services, we offer YouTube editing services. I have my team. You see how great these videos are. Come on. Okay, you look at our website. You look how good those websites are. And look at your website, okay? So if you're interested in having us work on your website, if you're interested in having us work on your YouTube, or even get your social media game just right, you want to go ahead and reach out to us. There's going to be a link in the description on how we can partner up together to help you grow your social media presence, your web presence, so you can position yourself for success, as I always say. So anyway, now, eventually after that period, then we move into the 1960s. You know, this is where now we're talking about, before you could make it, all you needed was a job. You know, all you needed was even the 40-hour work week was created by I believe it was Mr. Ford that created the 40-hour work week. And prior to that, if I can go back to like the second revolution, you know, there wasn't even, you know, workers' rights or anything like that. The 1960s and 70s promoted all of that, where people started having salary, people started getting paid a reasonable wage, companies started offering benefits, and it became this time period where a man could have a job and it would give him the integrity that he needed. He was able to provide for his family. He was able to have health care. He didn't have to put his life on the risk all the time, working 12, 15-hour days, getting paid nothing, like, you know, what happened prior to this with the second revolution. You know, this is where things were really on the up and up, if you want to call it. If you had a job with, you know, GM, if you had a job with Ford Motor Company, if you had a job with U.S. Steel, the Carnegie Company, these men were actually earning a living, you know. And then you move into the 60s, and manual work just wasn't very, you know, it wasn't enough. Now it was educated people, you know, and with all of this, the recipe for success changes every single time with all these revolutions. You know, the hunter-gatherers period, there was really nothing. It was just all survival. The first revolution period, you know, people had jobs and people started making an income, but it was very risky. People were putting their lives at risk. You know, we got the second revolution that leads up all the way to the early 60s. This is where, you know, a 9-to-5 job, 40-hour work week, benefits, and all of this stuff started happening. And then you have the 60s, 70s, and 80s where higher education started happening. People were, you know, getting a diploma, a bachelor's, and, you know, higher education, you know, getting a PhD. The secret to success has always evolved, is what I'm trying to point out here on this video. It's always evolved, and we've been tied to this, you know, from the 70s, I can say, all the way to the internet age of the late 1990s to the early 2000s. The secret recipe was get a 4-year education or an advanced degree, get you a job, you're gonna earn enough money, you'll be all right. That's what it was. But the internet changed the game. The internet changed everything, okay? Once we move into the digital age, which I believe, you know, again, this is where late 90s, early 2000s, with the introduction of the internet, and now higher education just wasn't enough. Skilled higher education is what this was calling for. You needed to be just not a secretary. It used to be a time where you can get your little secretarial degree, you can be a little secretary even if you're a woman, and make a little living. You know, you could, as a man, you can go out there and learn how to weld and get a job with U.S. Steel, and you'll be okay. Your wife didn't have to work. You used to be out there and be a carpenter. But during this time period now that we're talking about, you know, it was skilled education is what really mattered. You needed to be an engineer. You needed to, you needed to really you needed to have that law degree. We're talking about post, digital revolution. So things have always changed. Things have always evolved. Now, when we're coming back to that first video that we started with, this gentleman here dedicated 30 years, and I feel his pain. I've watched this a couple of times before I even recorded this video. This man has sacrificed his life for this company. But again, he was using the old recipe, the old secret to success that does not work anymore. And what he's about to be told here, let me play it, and then we're going to break it down and explain it a little bit further.
Nobody tell me to calm my ass down. Fuck everybody tell me to calm down. Goddamn it. This is my motherfucking money off, man. Right? You're right, Dwight. Fuck that shit.
I mean, he's 30 years old. So you got to give him, he's 50 plus, 60 years old or something like that. He does not have that much time. He really put all his bet on this pension that he was going to be getting. And this is the problem with using the old way of thinking. Using that old system of thinking that you're just going to get this job, you're going to get this pension. Things have changed. The whole economy has changed. We're living in a world right now. His company and his boss was about to explain this to him.
So this is what I'm saying. You gonna tell me how to motherfucking feel? Fuck that shit, man. So this is what I'm saying. Fuck this shit.
Anytime the government,
Analyze
the government bails out a corporation.
So the government bailed out whatever company he worked for. And whenever the government bails out a corporation or they go through a merger or a company gets bought out, they look at what debts does this company have? And that's part of negotiation now. And one of the things that usually comes into place is pensions, company pensions. They decide that they're not going to pay it, or they give up the pensions or whatever it is. That's the case in this scenario. And this guy was just caught up in this very awkward but very stressful situation that he's in. That now he lost all his pension. That you got all these people that get a job and then they strictly just invest in the 401k. This is using the old way of thinking, the old success secret. Just like me, I'm originally from Africa. Okay, I think I've mentioned that on this video a couple of times. And as African parents, I always say, get an education. You go to school, go to college, and you will live. It doesn't work anymore. It really doesn't. And what I also want to say, to just kind of give you a little bit of hope, that I believe that we live in probably the best time ever, where knowledge is so easily accessible. The value of knowledge has gone down. Okay, everybody is basically a PhD. If you have a smartphone, you have a PhD. You have access to every information that there is out there. So there's this one quote by what's this guy's name? Jim Rohn. He said, you don't get paid an hour. You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid for the value you bring into an hour. Just really listen to that. You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid as to how much value you're bringing in an hour. What matters today is not just this labor work. I mean, I'm no disrespect to this gentleman, but just think about what type of job was he doing. He was just doing manual labor. Manual labor, it's just, nobody there's robots these days. There's ChatGPT. We live in a completely different world, which means you have to have a very different outlook on life, a very different outlook when it comes to business, a very different approach when it comes to business. Going back to even, that lady just a moment ago that was talking about, it's not about your degree. It's not about, how many hours that you've worked or how many years of experience. Nobody gives a damn. I hire people all the time, and I'm telling you right now, the one thing that always comes into place is how much value can you add into my business? How much money can you make for me? That's really what matters. There's this post, I'm just scrolling to Instagram, and this guy has this sign, and this is somewhere, I'm not sure what this is, but he said, please hire me, environmental science bachelor. He's got an environmental science bachelor's, and he's out here in the middle of the road, can't find a job, trying to see if he can find somebody to hire him. And it's just, I don't know how many different ways or where it needs to be for our society to get to that point where we understand that this old way of thinking does not work anymore. And I'm trying to do a little bit of research and try to see, how did we kind of evolved through all these different revolutions, from the first all the way to the fourth industrial revolution, and then to the digital age. Things just, with society, we evolved, we became better, but it seems like right now we're stagnant. Most people don't even know where to go. Most people are just literally stuck. You know, I was watching this video, everyone is broke, and you can see how people just lack hope. You know, people don't know what to do. You know, we live in a time right now where you have to make an income in order for you to survive. To literally survive, and people have a problem surviving.
Because he couldn't get...
You know, there's this one lady here.
You work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
Hi.
Actually, let's listen to this gentleman. This is actually pretty funny. So watch this.
I'm a disillusioned millennial who grew up believing in the American dream, only to have it stolen from me by inflation. I thought I would have a house at this stage of my life. Instead, I'm watching memes about how the government discovered aliens. To be honest with you, I don't even care. Why? Because this stupid news isn't gonna help me buy a house. I digress. After sitting camera off through a bunch of meetings at work, I decided to take a quick Target break to make myself feel better. I went to Target to make myself feel better, but it only made me feel worse. Why? Because I ended up spending $70 on toothpaste, mouthwash, eggs, and leave-in conditioner. Just another reminder of why I can't buy a house. I decided to end the day binge watching Succession to disassociate from my miserable life. And forget the fact that I still owe Biden my student loans.
Can you please lower the prices of food or make it...
That was funny. So, one of the things, and I'll end with this. I just said a moment ago, one of my favorite quotes is, the internet enabled 8 billion millionaires. It's literally, believe it or not, if you're watching this, it's more easy than ever to actually become a millionaire, become financially successful in today's time. If you can really just take advantage of the internet, that's where it's at. Whether you like it or not, we live in a time right now that it's just so remarkable. It's knowledge is so accessible. Marketing your business is, starting a business is easier than ever. Marketing your business, it's so much easier. You're watching me right now on a YouTube video that I get paid for marketing my business. When I send you to my business, I'm also gonna, charge you a fee or whatever it is. It's never been easier before. When the hell we live in a time period where you can get paid to market your business? This is really, it's crazy. It really is, so there's two different perspectives that I see here. I see people that are tied into this old way of thinking. This way of not really taking accountability for your success. And I know that sounds horrible if you're one of those people that are in this situation, but it literally what it is. When you're sitting here and you're crying because of a 30-year pension, you're aggravated, I shouldn't say. I should not disrespect this man. He's aggravated because of 30-year pension. He did not take charge of his own life as a man and let his destiny, his future, his legacy be tied to this company and their pension program. That's what cannot work anymore. How do you eliminate that? I think that jobs these days are only a stepping stone. I really do. I think that jobs are needed. Jobs are necessary. I have people to work for me, so I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, get rid of all 9-to-5s. That's impossible. But I think that if you're not in any kind of engineering, sciences, if you're not a lawyer, if you're not a doctor, if you're not in any one of those professional fields, it really is a stepping stone for you to do something that you are passionate about on your own, instead of having to rely on somebody. We need to start taking charge of our future, and that's what the internet has enabled us to do. So there's good and bad in this transition that we're going through, and hopefully this video comes off the right way, that it's all about looking at the world that we live in today and figuring out ways that you can fit into the economy, because there is more money than ever that's moving around. There's more millions than ever being made every single day. There's internet millionaires being made every single day. This never used to happen back in the day. Okay, so there's more of an opportunity now for you to be successful more than ever. You have to see, you have to change what you're exposing yourself to. You have to stop looking at this old way of thinking, and you have to come up with a new plan that is tied into this new technology, this new economic society, this new system that we're in right now. That's the short video for today. Thank you so much.